we move past the wooden keyboard, or wooden look keyboard more accurately, to the shark themed mouse mat, keyboard and mouse. Now this SGM25W mouse weighs about 60 grams, which you might think is very little. I would think is very little. This mouse and this mouse are identical except for the finishes. They're making a short batch of the shiny just to see what people think. And a line of modded PCs, the traditional beverage dispenser. They told me 4 beverages. I'm seeing a lot more than that, however. We move down the line. Looked pleasant enough, but fairly conventional. Stuart Tonks has outshone himself once again. Open frame case, I like the look of that. Screen of lady dancing in the background on this one. Interesting. That's obviously, looks like stainless to me. Folded sheet steel with a few blobs of weld. Very nice. Not sure what this, JP modified, okay. Not sure what this is showing. I'm seeing a car, not so much of a PC, however. Would you like afternoon tea, is the question. We have a manta with moving wings and something extraordinary for the mango enthusiast. We have a cloudy tank, which I'm guessing is being fed by all this LN2 in the great big tanks there. We saw the Meg Vision X at CES this year. This is the second version that's been updated in some unspecified manner. It's all about that enormous LCD touch panel on the front of the case, which is both for display and also for control. The idea is it gives you information from inside the PC, and you can also use it, yes, to control the AI and the chatness. We can't get anywhere close to the MPG 217 QR QD OLED X50, which is a shame because this is their premium monitor at this show. The idea here, if you look just below the MSI logo, you can see a little thing. That's a sensor. It's a presence detect. Are you near the monitor? If not, it shuts down. And the reason is that this is a high refresh, high brightness OLED monitor, 1440p, and they want to avoid burn-in. So when you get up and walk away, it'll shut down, and that saves its panel. And as a result, they can offer you a 3-year warranty, and that warranty includes burn-in. And it's all thanks to that sensor, and yes, AI. This motherboard is of keen interest, even though it's not stealthy B850M or its Elite Wi-Fi 7 ISP. That's a bad name. However, it's Micro ATX, and it's fully decked out. We don't see enough Micro ATX hardware in the UK. It's kind of a German thing. So B850M, I'd like to see that and use it in some PC builds. This laptop powered by an Ultra 9 275HX processor from Intel up to RTX 5090 graphics. We have the Aorus Master 18. Much the same hardware in a bigger chassis with a bigger screen. The 18's priced around £4,500, euros, dollars. The Master 16 ain't going to be a lot cheaper. More evidence of the good work of the OC Lab and their gold edition memory. We have 2 systems running along here at very high speeds, both using CU DIMMs. As we can see on this external display here, frustratingly rotated 90 degrees. And we look there and we see just above my finger, 10,400 mega transfers, which is as fast as any CU DIMMs that I've seen running on a system. That is impressive. That's the kind of speed we saw on the overclock systems at GSKILL. And we have a delidded processor. This is a Ryzen 9 9950X 3D. Thermal Grizzly supplies delidded processors, 2 models, Ryzen 7 9800X 3D and this Ryzen 9 9950X 3D. They'll charge you a premium of 120 euros for the Ryzen 7 and a premium of 200 euros for the Ryzen 9. You get the IHS that's been removed with your purchase, but they also send you full inspection photos before and after the delidding process, so you can be guaranteed that the process is in good order. Also, if you break it, they'll know you broke it. Of course, when we go to the left, this means that you don't need to buy a delid die mate heater, and furthermore, go to the left again, you don't need to buy the delid die mate. So actually buying a delidded processor from Thermal Grizzly saves you money.
So it's machined from one side while they're in a plate of 4. All 4 get flipped together and the opposite side's machined, but all of the bright surfaces are just roughed out then. Then we take the 4 pieces out of the big tile, and they're glass blasted all over with glass beads, very fine glass beads. And that's how we get the satin finish on the copper. Then it gets loaded back into the machine individually, and all of the surfaces are machined again so they have a mirror finish. This is machined in Germany at Thermal Grizzly headquarters. And then the final operation is for the screws for the terminal, and these holes through into the water passages, and then the entire thing gets nickel plated, and you end up with these 2 finishes, the bright finish on contact surfaces and the satin finish everywhere else.
But the customer wouldn't get the benefit. So this
Yep.
only makes sense, the extra cost and the hassle only makes sense because the block has a window to show it off to the world.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. And if you have coloured coolant in your block, do you lose it? Basically, is this for clear coolant?
It does play very nicely on the lighting.
Okay.
So you get a very even illumination. It's not like it's lighting up streaks of machining marks.
Okay.
It looks really clean under light with coolant inside.
And this server here behind us, we come around and go up high. I believe this is powered by 2 prime power supplies, just to show what kind of systems are out there. 4 graphics cards, loads of cooling, a boatload of memory, and it's running on what I consider to be domestic power supplies. Yes, there are indeed 2 PX3200s hidden within. And there we see the chunky great cables feeding to the 2 PX3200s, which are powering this enormous Threadripper system.
And we'll start off by looking at some air coolers. So this one, the RZ820, we saw back at CES, me and Leo earlier this year. Since then, CPS have added a white version, which you move to the left a bit, Andre. A white version, and then over to the right, you can also get this with a display built into the top to show your anime goodness.
GeForce RTX 5090 Tornado. This is a concept product that may never come to production. If it doesn't, I shall be very sad. The key point is full metal design. The metal structure helps it to shed heat. You will notice on the back, ups Ashunga Turnip. Signed by Jensen Wang, RTX on. That's the first of many Jensen signatures here at this booth. So metal construction, it weighs quite a bit, making the shroud from metal would add to the cost, probably take the price past £2,000 euros dollars. I think it looks absolutely spectacular and beautifully slimline. I can give you the 30-second version of the booth. This is going to sell by the container load, and it is the O11D Mini V2, priced at $90 without fans, $100 with fans. It's absolutely mind-blowing, and I love it. It is obviously a variation on the original O11D Mini, and you'll note here we have a horizontal GPU, a big horizontal GPU. If we crouch down a little bit, slightly tricky to see, the GPU is supported by a GPU support. You might think that looks quite dull, and I understand why you might think that, but around the corner, I'll show you what is clever about this case, in my opinion, in addition to the angled bottom that helps air to flow up to that huge GPU through those 3 fans in the floor of the case. In the back of the case, there's a full-size ATX power supply, but let's show you that GPU mount in further detail. In white and without all the RGB, you can see far better. So that is the GPU support behind the graphics card here. However, we have a second GPU support. Vertical GPU, you have a mount that goes on fans. I've never seen this before. It's obvious and it's really clever. So vertical GPU, horizontal GPU, they have you covered, they have you supported. We have previously seen Light-Based 900 FX, this case, but not the wood that it stands upon. The feature, one of the many features of Light-Based 900 FX, was it could stand in one of 3 orientations. This is an orientation you would not stand your case in, because you will see the graphics card is vertical. This is the back of the case. The cables and such like would be crushed and the airflow would be ruined. So this component, which is just a sample, is new. We have that. We have this, which amazingly is not a work in progress, but was an idea for an actual finished product. We also have a black metal version. And around here, a white metal version. So essentially it's a plinth, sized obviously for the case and able to manage the cables. Pricing, no clue. It doesn't seem to me very likely that BIWIN is actually going to make this product. Seems to me if you're interested in this, you need to shout at them long and loud in the comments below, and it would be a Kickstarter kind of thing. The way of the world says I doubt you get that for much less than £100, euros, dollars. I'd like it to be cheaper, but the idea is very neat. The product cards for X5 and X5M show the state of the world. You will note the X5, $75. That's $75 US because of tariffs. Elsewhere, cheaper. Take off $10, pounds, euros. Whereas the X5M, $59. But that's a whole world price. What we have is a large case that's deadly cheap. That's a lot of space for a £65 euro dollar case. Supports E80X or SSI CEB and comes with 4 fans. Also loads of mesh. Front panel looks attractive. I mean, frankly, what's not to like at that price? And then we go across to the X5M, which is a micro ATX version of the same. So everything I just said, only smaller and cheaper. When we look at this graphics card, the Nitro Plus 9070 XT 16GB Phantom Link, and we look at that gold finger there just above my finger. So we have the regular PCI Express connector plus that. And then we return to the motherboard. And you will see when your graphics card plugs in there, you don't need the 12-volt high power cable. You can go cable free. All the power comes through the motherboard. I like that a lot, but that feature only on that motherboard. A case that's more Leo friendly is the FLP02, the most retro thing you're going to see in a long old while. Come around the side, Rosie, and take a squint in. And you'll see it's actually quite a conventional case. It's priced around £200, euros, dollars. Plenty of space inside, beige in colour, which of course is the joke. And when you move around the front, we have 3 dummy floppy bays, which aren't floppy bays. That's actually the trigger to release the blank. And you can put an optical drive or other accessory in. Front I/O is behind that flip down panel. So that's quite conventional. 2 USB A's, 1 C and a headset jack. And this, unusually, is a power button, and the key is a lockout for the power button. So the key is locked, and I can do that, and it doesn't do a damn thing. If I click that, hit the switch, it'll break everything. I'll be reviewing this case quite soon. And behold, the Mindcube 360 Ultra ARGB. Mindcube? What's that? I've no idea about the inspiration for this whatsoever. So, I can lift this off safely because it's controlled by the cables. So you'll note it's still working. It's just kind of positioned on top of the active cooler on top of the pump. I plonk it back, and we have an ARGB 360 AIO with the extra lighting doohickey. Cost of the whole about $350, which means that this 4-display setup is going to cost you about $200. And naturally that is controlled by Thermaltake software. On the left we have it in white, here we have it in black. But even more exciting is the brand new Atlas M4. This is a 4th gen case. It comes with 4 RGB fans, the 3 in the bottom, the 1 in the floor. Let me pull off the panel, see if I can break something. Hooray, hooray, nothing broken. So 4 RGB fans included. Slightly confusingly, many of these cases are fully populated, so the RGB is not what you get with the case. And the power supply, you can see it's in a housing that bulges into the main interior. It's perforated, but the air intake for the power supply is around here. But this case looks like it has all the features that we're interested in, and yet it's priced relatively cheap. The ARX 700 white ARGB case, sadly not built, not illuminated, and I'm going to be doing a featured build in this case. The significant thing here is it's white, which I know sounds like I'm repeating myself. We have here the ARX 700 ARGB, which is black. James reviewed this case, he liked it. It's taken them quite a while to satisfactorily come up with a white case, because the grommets, the paint, the steel, everything has to be matching, and that's actually harder than it sounds. But it's arrived, it's here. The ARC 700, depending on ARGB, non-ARGB, black or white, is priced around the 110, 120 pounds, euros, dollars. So this is going to be arriving with me very soon. The case, the Air 5400, which we did a rapid run through in our vertical video over on TikTok, is interesting. Now, one of our Corsair hand models is going to step into frame and start pulling off panels. Please, sir. Air 5400 coming sometime in Q4, we're told more likely October, priced $200 to $300, probably pounds, euros as well. Opens out beautifully. Look at that. Aren't we all just glad I didn't do that? That's beautifully done, thank you, sir. And you'll notice we have ducts that can be easily removed. So a duct over the 3 fans, a duct over any cooling you put in the roof, and when we come around the side, I know, I have a turntable, I can turn it, this is so exciting. Another duct. This is a triple chamber case, and when I turn it back round, it's all about having a monumental NVIDIA 50 series graphics card that requires heaps of cooling, which is going to go here. Also, you will note the motherboard tray has a hole pattern. It is known as squircles, or they are known as squircles. That's not the official name. It's something to do with cable routing, but we don't care about that. It's so you can snap in various accessories and such like. Also, if you look closely, you will see that there are loads of mounting screws on that motherboard tray because there is an ecosystem at play here, and it's called frame, and it has lots of potential. And now, as a test, I'm going to call on the Corsair hand model to reinstall all those panels in a flurry of activity, and we'll see, is it as easy to put back together as it was to dismantle? This is the kind of stuff I personally wouldn't dream of doing at a show. Apart from that part. That's impressively done, actually. All right, round of applause for the Corsair guy. This is the really good stuff. We have here Kingston Fury Impact DDR5 Cam 2 on a Gigabyte motherboard. This is obviously a prototype because this isn't a system that's yet available to the public. Z890, so they've adapted an existing motherboard. And here we see examples of the Fury Impact DDR5 Cam 2 memory. We've seen this at the previous Computex, and I think we saw it at CES this year. So it's still a prototype form, up to 128 gigabytes per module at the moment. That's double the previous spec. We're expecting to see this turn of the year, although they're showing it in this Gigabyte desktop system. Initially, we're expecting to see this in notebooks or laptops. I personally think Intel Panther Lake is the likeliest, and that's due to launch end of 2025 and then go on sale very early 2026. We have a modded build that was done in association with NVIDIA for the launch of Doom: The Dark Ages. This shroud has been added to the graphics card, as has this other fun and games on top. How might you do that? Well, you 3D print it, of course. How can you do that? Palit has made the CAD files available, so you can print off your own 3D shroud. But the thing is, if you start printing parts of graphics cards, you lose your warranty, don't you? Right? Wrong! No! What you do is you print something like this, which simply clips to the outer cover of the graphics card. Warranty unaffected. And furthermore, as we look at this part, you can see, when we go back to the modded build, that this vented area here is a keep out area. The file won't allow you to print in that area, because if you do that, you'll block the thermals, and that would be bad. So be good.
We were just saying that Leo's old enough to remember the twin Frozo.
Mother. However, quite correct. I'm holding my microphone for our video. I forget. So amateur. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad you didn't pick up the mother. That's quite all right. Hyperflow ARGB and Hyperflow Silent we are familiar with. Hyperflow ARGB and Hyperflow Silent 240, 260. Jesus, went third time. Hyperflow ARGB, fourth time. Hyperflow ARGB and Hyperflow 120 without the fans 100. There's a very loud man shouting next to me, but we're going to pretend we can't hear him. He's very noisy, slightly scary, intense. Our man next to us is shouting even louder. And we'll come back to the King 15 with our intense fellow in a bit. We'll come back to that one.
Sorry about it.
That's quite all right.
Sorry about it.
Okay. Kit Guru is with Endorfy at Computex 2025, and I'm standing next to... That's a panel going back on. Let's do that again. Kit Guru is in the Corsair studio. That's what I'm going to call it anyway. Computex 2025. This, as you might start over. Kit Guru is with Corsair at Computex 2025, and they're in... Start again. Kit Guru is with Gigabyte at Computex 20... Look at that, you see. Tries to keep it running, and a ton of memory. And that's how Kingston makes their cash. I've just realised cash is a terrible pun. I apologise. Mother